Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's good to be back. It's good to be back once again. And today I wanted to talk about why games should be played on the hardest difficulty. Now, I understand not every gamer out there is a hardcore gamer. There are some casual gamers out there that basically want to play the game for the story or just simply for the experience alone. Another thing I do understand is that it could be quite frustrating when trying to attack some of these games with the hardest difficulty, whereas you get one shot or you might get permadeath. Now, I'm not speaking in terms of the permadeath modes, such as, I forgot what the difficulty is in Wolfenstein 2, but games like that, I'm not talking about those difficulties. I'm talking about just the hardest difficulty where you get unlimited tries and you get checkpoints and there's regular things, right? So, one thing I've kind of understood is that it kind of forces you to fully engage with the game's mechanics, right? It pushes your skills to the limit. I know a lot of people don't like to be pushed to the limitations on them playing the game because, once again, it frustrates them. But I feel like if you're a game viewer, or you're someone that just likes to complete games in general, it sort of gives you a deeper understanding of the game systems, a greater sense of accomplishment, if you will, upon completion. And even a more rewarding gameplay experience on top of that, especially if you're going for the platinum like most PlayStation gamers, or even if you're an achievement hunter. You know, that's just kind of what we do. And in many ways, it sort of enhances your decision making, depending on if you're playing role-playing games such as Final Fantasy, or I'm trying to think of another role-playing game. You got Final Fantasy, Tales of, etc., Star Ocean, if you will. And it just kind of makes you just more experienced at becoming a strategic gamer as you're attacking these games, whether it's slow paced or it's fast paced. And that's kind of a really important factor with some of these games. Now, a lot of times people sort of overlook certain aspects of the games that are built in for you to use, depending on the certain enemies that you deal with, or just the certain environments that you're in. It's just a lot of different factors that can go into defeating enemies or just the opposition in general, right? It basically allows you to trying to have the right tool for the job and the right timing on top of that. My main point of this bullet point here is it basically deepens your gameplay engagement. That's basically what it's for. You put the game on the hardest difficulty, it will show you exactly what the developer wanted you to do. And on top of that, opens you up to even more possibilities around what he wanted you to do on top of that. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say that? Now, clearly, let's say we're playing, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? And we're going up against an ice enemy. But if you play on the hardest difficulty, just using fire alone on certain enemies won't be enough if they hit harder than just, it takes maybe 2 or 3 hits to take you down. Sometimes it requires you to utilize other buffs or even debuffs against the enemy so that you work around the sort of obvious weakness or the obvious route as to get this enemy out the way. You can obliterate the enemy if you strategically optimize what you're trying to do to get it done as fast as possible. And sometimes that's a requirement on the hardest difficulty, trust me. Now, I know this might be sort of a guilty pleasure for most hardcore gamers out there, but it just kind of gives you a greater sense of achievement, right? It gives you, no one can tell you nothing, essentially. Like you beat the hardest mode. You took down the hardest boss. You took down Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts. You took down Terra in Kingdom Hearts. Yuzura. It's like, who's going to stop you now? Who's going to tell you what to do and what's in the game, because you've already done it. It gives you that sense of accomplishment, and it isn't gonna. I mean, there are some people that can make it an ego thing, but at the end of the day, it's just a video game, right? But yeah, man, it for me personally, it allows me to, if someone didn't reach a part, it allows me to not only warn them, but to sort of inform them about how things could go in the battle, even if they are stuck on the boss battle and they're trying to basically figure out, how did I do it? What was the fastest way for me to do it? Sometimes I just kind of direct them to my YouTube channel and show them what happened, or I just tell them right then and there and watch as they play the game. But it basically gives you that sense of accomplishment, man. And I really love, feeling like, okay, I did that. I played Crash 4. I got that platinum. Nobody can tell me nothing, right? It's kind of like that. But it's real fun when you meet the other person that also went through the same pain as you. Both of you can kind of like have that empathy toward each other. It's like, are you alright, buddy? Did you get past that? Yeah. I got past that. It was so hard. Do you remember this part? And you guys just bond over that. It's a lot of different factors that goes into that. But yeah, another thing that I think, if you are someone that likes puzzle games or platforms, or you're basically trying to figure out some sort of mystery going on, it adds that extra layer of a mental challenge, right? Whereas if you're someone that likes to sit back and analyze the field before you go in, I feel like playing on the hardest difficulty will kind of allow you to practice that even more. And even in some cases, even perfect it, right? The mental focus and problem solving required to succeed on a harder difficulty can be stimulating for players who enjoy a significant challenge, just like me at times. And even though I know in my live streams I might seem like I'm, getting tortured, I hate this, but trust me, I'm enjoying every minute of it, because at the end of the day, I feel like if you have a video game and you're someone that's not financially, really, you're not rich essentially, and I feel like you playing games on harder difficulty increases the time period in which you're playing the game, which is another thing I wanted to say. It not only enhances the experience for you, but it extends the experience for you, which is really good. If you're someone that wants to take their time with the game, you're not necessarily just trying to take your time with it, but you're also trying to get the best out of the experience, like I've said before many times. And last but certainly not least, which is something I think that game reviewers or critics should basically take note of, is that it uncovers the game design flaws within certain bosses or certain enemy types, etc., right? Playing on the hardest difficulty can sometimes reveal the weaknesses in the game's mechanics or balance issues that might not be apparent on lower difficulties, because you're either killing them super fast or it's just not a problem because you have so much health. Now, this is a real big one, I feel like, with hack and slash games, or sometimes even just a regular action RPG such as God of War or Elden Ring or any From Software games. This is kind of why I kind of fell in love with Bloodborne back then, when I was like, I want to say I was 17 when Bloodborne came out. I kind of was able to just read the enemies, and mind you, I never played a Souls game before that. Right, I never played any Souls game. I looked at it and I thought it looked like Max Payne. I know that's kind of a far out of field from what I was thinking before. But when I played it, I was like, yeah, this isn't Max Payne at all. This is just completely different. But it allows you to sort of see the weakness and the patterns that get repeated, which is what people kind of, talk about when they're saying, read the patterns or read the movements, because you can find the exploits in it. Whereas in games like Ninja Gaiden or sometimes Devil May Cry, they don't really move in a pattern. They move depending on how you move. It's kind of like I don't want to say tic-tac-toe, but almost like a rock, paper, scissors thing. Whereas you trick the AI into moving your own way, but they aren't moving in a certain pattern on their own, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I was really thinking about this while I was playing Ninja Gaiden 2 on the master difficulty. I actually beat it, but I'm going to eventually have to go back through each chapter and get master rank on them. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about why playing on the hardest difficulty, or even taking on the harder trophies before you take on the easier trophies, is much more important. Because for one, and as far as the platinum trophy, it just lets you know right then and there if you really want to get it or not. And two, it's just go back through the video and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's all I got to talk about today, guys. I'll be sure to get back to you guys probably tomorrow. It's already tomorrow, actually. But later on today, when I start streaming Ninja Gaiden 2 on Warrior difficulty, which is going to be so easy because of what I've dealt with Mentor and Master Ninja. But yeah, be sure to comment your thoughts on the video. Do you guys like to play on the hardest difficulty? Do you not? Why not? Let me know in the comments down below. And subscribe. I need that. Peace out.